Some Chevy engines will push past 400,000 miles without breaking a sweat. Others won't survive 120,000, no matter how well you maintain them. The difference isn't luck. It's the engine family Chevy put under the hood. I'm Jerry. I've spent over 30 years tearing down Chevy engines, from bulletproof LS blocks to problem-plagued AFM-era V8s and fragile Ecotec 4s. I've seen which designs forgive abuse and which ones fail right on schedule. Today, I'm breaking down the 3 worst Chevy engines you should avoid and the 4 best Chevy engines you can buy with confidence, so you don't learn the hard way. Worst engine number 1, the early 3.6-liter V6. Starting with this Chevy 3.6 V6, it's easy to see why a lot of owners regret the day they bought one. On paper, this engine was supposed to be a modern, flexible power plant. It showed up in everything from Chevy Impala and Equinox to Traverse and Camaro models, but in real life, it's been a headache machine for many people. The big problem that puts the early 3.6 on my worst list is the timing chain setup. Chevrolet designed the high-feature 3.6 to use multiple timing chains driven off the crank to the cams, and the tensioners on those chains weren't strong enough in the early versions. When the chains stretch or guides wear, you start hearing a rattling noise on cold starts. And that's not just annoying, it's telling you the valve timing is going out of sync. If you let it go, the chain can jump teeth or wear through parts, leading to bent valves or worse. Now, timing chains are supposed to last a long time, but many wait for a long time before they change their oil, which doesn't help. In fact, some Chevy owners went 8,000 to 10,000 miles between oil changes because that's what their oil life monitor suggested. But let me tell you, that's exactly how people got into trouble. They let the oil get low and thick with sludge, eventually starving the tensioners of pressure. This lets the chain go slack. Oil consumption is another problem of this engine. Many early 3.6 liters burn oil faster than you'd expect. I've seen some owners who need to top up oil every 1,500 to 2,000 miles. It's caused by a mix of PCV system quirks and piston ring wear. If you ignore it, you're lowering oil pressure and accelerating internal wear. Another problem with the engine is overheating and the water pump. The water pump in these engines isn't bulletproof, and leaks or bearing failures can show up around 80,000 to 120,000 miles. When that happens, you'll see coolant on the ground or a rising temperature gauge. Let it overheat and you can warp heads or blow gaskets. So what do you do if you have to live with a 3.6? First, change your oil, early and often. I tell customers all the time, don't wait for that oil light. Hit synthetic every 3,000 to 5,000 miles and keep oil levels topped up. Second, if you hear chain noise, right away, don't wait. Do a proper timing chain inspection. Pulling the covers to check chain slack early can save a full engine rebuild later. And third, keep an eye on coolant leaks and belt-driven accessory noises. The more you catch early, the cheaper it stays. Finally, when buying used, always do a compression test and check service records for oil change diligence. There are Chevy 3.6-liter engines that make it past 150,000 miles with no drama, but that's mostly the newer LGX and later variants with better timing components. But the first-gen 3.6 remains one of the worst Chevy engines you can buy. Now, as bad as the 3.6 is, there's a Chevy engine that's even worse. Number 2 on the worst list is the Ecotec 1.4-liter turbo engine, which is supposed to give you good power and fuel economy in a small package. But in the real world, it is one of those engines that's caused the most owner headaches. You'll find this engine in the Chevy Cruze, Sonic, Trax, and Malibu models. GM leaned on it as a modern, efficient replacement for bigger 4s, but the execution left a lot to be desired. The first major issue with the 1.4 turbo is head gasket and overheating problems. The engines tend to run hot, especially in stop-and-go traffic, and the cylinder head gasket can fail prematurely. When the gasket starts leaking, coolant gets into places where it shouldn't, leading to overheating, white smoke, and a loss of performance. In the shop, I've seen multiple Cruzes come in with the head gasket blown around 70 to 90,000 miles, and that's much sooner than you'd expect for a modern engine. Along with the cooling issue, there's the water pump and thermostat assembly. On the 1.4 turbo, this setup lives in a tight space and it isn't very robust. It's common to see coolant leaks and water pump failures before 100,000 miles, and when that happens, you'll see a rising temperature gauge or puddles under the car. Left unchecked, overheating can warp the cylinder head and require a full head job or replacement. This is a costly repair that can take thousands of dollars from your wallet. Another problem that puts this engine on my worst list is the timing chain tensioner wear. Unlike older belt systems, the 1.4 uses a chain that should last the life of the engine, but the tensioner often loses pressure. This leads to a rattling noise on startup. If you ignore this, it can cause the chain to skip or stretch. The skip timing chain on this engine can damage valves and pistons because the 1.4 is a tight tolerance interference design. I've had a lot of Cruise and Sonic owners complain about problems with this engine, like ticking noises on a cold start, coolant smell after highway drives, and rough idle under boost. If you're already stuck with this engine, you can consider regular oil and coolant checks, which can make a big difference. I always tell DIYers to change coolant every 30,000 miles instead of sticking with what GM says. Low or old coolant contributes directly to overheating and gasket failure. One tip from the garage floor: keep an eye on the boost control solenoid and intercooler hoses. Loose or cracked hoses can lead to poor performance and unburnt fuel washing oil from cylinder walls, which accelerates wear. Catching these early and replacing them with quality parts can save a lot of grief. If you're good with tools, you can check the boost control solenoid yourself. Locate it near the turbo, as it's usually mounted with a couple of small bolts and connected by vacuum lines and an electrical plug. Look for cracked hoses, oil residue, or brittle plastic fittings. If the engine hesitates under boost or throws a boost-related code, replacing the solenoid is often cheaper than chasing the problem. It's usually a 30-minute job with basic tools. Disconnect the battery, unplug the connector, swap the unit, and reconnect everything carefully. As for the intercooler hoses, you should squeeze them and look for soft spots, cracks, or oil seepage. Oil buildup inside the hose is common for this engine, but heavy residue can cause hoses to pop up under boost. It's easy to replace them too. Loosen the clamps, pull the hose, clean the connections, and install new clamps if the originals are weak. There are certainly 1.4 turbo engines that make it past 150,000 miles with solid care, but for every one of those, there are several more where cooling, head gasket, or timing chain issues have caused expensive repairs. And that's why the 1.4 turbo engine is one of the worst. But next, the Ecotec is also a Chevy engine that you don't want to have under the hood. Worst engine number 3 on the Chevy avoid at all costs list is the 2.4-liter Ecotec Inline 4. If you've rolled into a shop with one of these under the hood, you'll quickly see why it's earned a rough reputation among Chevy mechanics like me. This engine powered a huge swath of Chevy vehicles, from Equinox and Malibu to Captiva, Buick, Regal, and LaCrosse. It can run for miles when you treat it right, but it has a long list of problems that can make you lose your mind. The first thing I think about when someone brings in a 2.4 Ecotec is a rattle on startup or a rhythmic clatter at idle. These are classic signs of timing chain tensioner problems. These engines use a timing chain to keep the cams and crank in sync, and on many of these older blocks, the chain tensioner and guides wear faster than they should. You'll hear that noise early, often around 80,000 to 100,000 miles, and it's a big red flag because this engine is an interference design. If the chain stretches or skips teeth, the valves and pistons can collide, bending valves and ruining heads before you even realize something's wrong. Oil consumption is another recurring headache. A lot of these 2.4s burn oil aggressively as they age, which means they need constant top-ups between changes. Some Chevy owners even need to add a quart every few thousand miles, and when oil drops low, the tensioner loses pressure, accelerating wear on the chain. One Chevy Equinox owner in my shop was topping oil weekly at 120,000 miles before his chain guide finally failed. Carbon buildup from direct injection doesn't help either. Like many GM engines of this era, fuel is sprayed directly onto the cylinder, which means the intake valves don't get washed clean. Over time, deposits build up, choking airflow and causing rough idle, hesitation, or misfires. I've seen people pull intake runners to find thick black deposits, and the fix isn't cheap unless you do it yourself. So what can you do if you're stuck with one? First, be religious about oil changes. Don't treat the ECM's long interval as a gospel. To keep your tensioners working, add fresh, high-quality synthetic at 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Listen closely for that chain rattle. If you hear it, pull the front cover and inspect the guide and tensioner early. If you replace them before extensive damage occurs, you can save yourself thousands. Cleaning carbon off the intake with walnut blasting every 60,000 to 80,000 miles makes these engines breathe better, and checking PCV passages regularly helps keep oil out of the intake where it doesn't belong. Now that you know which Chevy engines to avoid, let me show you the engines that actually last. The best engine number 1 on our Chevy list is the 5.3-liter V8. And if you've spent any time working on GM trucks, you'll understand why this one earns top honors. This engine has powered millions of Silverados, Tahoes, Suburbans, GMC Sierras, and Yukons for more than 2 decades. In the real world, it delivers a balance of power, reliability, and longevity that few others match. The latest versions make around 355 horsepower and 383 foot-pound of torque, giving you enough grunt for towing, hauling, and daily driving without needing premium fuel or constant fuss. The 5.3-liter isn't perfect, well, nothing is, but it plays to its strengths. One of the biggest reasons this engine ends up on the best list is how forgiving it is when cared for properly. It has some issues like cylinder deactivation lifter wear on some of the later active fuel management and dynamic fuel management equipped variants, but Chevy drivers who stick to solid maintenance rarely have to deal with catastrophic failures. One longtime Silverado owner in the shop reported cruising past 250,000 miles on his 5.3 with nothing more than routine oil changes, tire rotations, and the occasional spark plug change. The engine still ran strong with 0 major repairs. Another 5.3 owner shared that their Chevy truck made over 300,000 miles before it was retired. Not for engine trouble, but for rust issues. It still ran like new under load. From the mechanics bay, there are a few tips that go a long way toward keeping a 5.3 V8 happy. Don't wait for the oil light to tell you it's time. These engines respond very well to frequent synthetic oil changes every 3,000 to 5,000 miles because that keeps lifters, variable valve timing components, and cam phasing systems well lubricated and clean. A clean air filter and quality fuel keep combustion tight and reduce carbon buildup. When carbon does collect on the intake valves of direct injected versions, a walnut blast clean every 60,000 to 80,000 miles can make a noticeable difference in throttle response and idle smoothness. But let me debunk a common myth. Some people claim 5.3s are bulletproof and need no maintenance. That's not true. They can be rock solid, but like any engine, they live or die by how well you take care of them. Past AFM-DFM lifter failures simply don't show up nearly as often when regular oil changes, careful oil level checks, and timely spark plug swaps are part of the routine. The Chevy 5.3-liter V8 is a reliable and versatile engine that pulls hard, idles smooth, and can go thousands of miles without drama. Best engine number 2, the LS Series Small Block V8. If you've ever stood in a garage talking to seasoned Chevy techs, the LS comes up in almost every conversation about engines that just keep going. Introduced in the late 90s and used in everything, from Corvettes and Camaros to Silverados and GMC Sierras, this pushrod V8 has completely transformed what a small block could be. It blends power, simplicity, and astonishing durability. One of the reasons the LS family became a legend is how broad its range is. The milder 5.7-liter versions make around 350 horsepower, while the high-output 6.2 and 7.0-liter variants make well over 400 horsepower in stock form. What makes the LS so good in the real world is the real-world performance and toughness. I've seen countless stories of LS engines cruising past 200,000 miles with hardly more than normal service. In fact, a lot of these engines go well past 300,000 miles without requiring a teardown. One of the Chevy Silverado owners I know hit well over 250,000 miles on his LS-powered truck with nothing but oil changes and a water pump swap. Another shared that his late-model Camaro's LS never missed a beat even after spirited weekend drives. DIY maintenance on an LS V8 is one of its biggest draws. These engines are laid out in a way that makes basic tasks like oil changes, spark plug swaps, thermostat, or water pump replacements accessible, even with basic tools. But there's one tip I always give customers. Don't skip a timing chain inspection once you hit the century mark. This isn't as common as failures on some other Chevy engines. Chains and guides do wear, and catching tension or slack early can save you from doing a much bigger job. What's more, keeping intake passages clean and fresh spark plugs in there keeps combustion tight and efficient. Best engine number 3, the LS9 supercharged 6.2-liter V8. When you talk about Chevy engines that combine raw muscle and technical excellence, few come close to the LS9. This is the heart of the 2009 to 2013 Corvette ZR1, the most powerful production engine GM had ever offered when it debuted. Built by hand at GM's Performance Build Center in Michigan, the LS9 pushes out a staggering 638 horsepower and 604 pound-feet of torque right off the showroom floor thanks to a 2.3-liter Eaton supercharger and advanced induction design. What sets the LS9 apart is how Chevy makes them. The engine uses a strengthened 6.2-liter block with cast iron liners and roto-cast aluminum heads, giving it strength that rivals purpose-built race motors. Titanium connecting rods produce reciprocating mass and help the engine rev more freely, while oil spray cooling under the pistons keeps temperatures in check under boost. The dry sump lubrication system ensures oil pressure always stays consistent, even under hard cornering or track use. The LS9 has earned its place as one of the best engines because it delivers big power without big compromise. My customers who've driven ZR1s for years have shared stories of blistering acceleration and reliable use. One Corvette owner in my shop even said that his LS9 never flinched, even after repeated track days. And another talked about swapping his LS9 into a classic muscle car with custom manifolds to enjoy the wicked power. There are some myths around this legendary engine. Some say that supercharged engines are always finicky or expensive to maintain. That's not really fair to the LS9. It might be a high-output engine and does best with quality fluid and belts inspected regularly, but it isn't an engine that falls apart if you treat it sensibly. Now, the parts aren't cheap if you go deep into performance repairs, but for anyone who loves V8 muscle with supercharged kick, that's exactly why the LS9 is one of the best Chevy engines you can buy. Best engine number 4, the Chevy Small Block V8. If you ever walk into a classic Chevy garage, you'll hear this name with almost a reverence most people reserve for legends. It's this small block engine that put Chevy on the map. It started back in 1955 and evolved through decades of cars and trucks with a simple promise. It balances power, durability, and ease of use. Over 100 million of these engines have been built across multiple generations, powering everything from early Bel Airs and Corvettes to Silverados and countless hot rods. What makes the small block one of the best is what it delivers on the road and in the shop. Early versions, like the 350 cubic inch, carried the ethos of small design. It was a compact 90-degree V8 that breathed well, responded to throttle, and put down torque you could feel at any RPM. I've had many customers who use these engines for hundreds of thousands of miles with only routine maintenance. One 1991 Silverado with a small block surpassed 1.3 million miles with nothing more than regular oil changes and minor wear parts replaced, proving that these motors are built to last when treated right. The pushrod OHV architecture, compact bore spacing, and sturdy cast iron blocks mean that even high-mileage engines tolerate wear better than many modern complex power plants. When you pull one apart, you'll see heavy-duty bearing surfaces and a valve train that was designed to be serviceable, not disposable. You might have heard that the small block is an old-school engine. That's a myth. Although it spans generations and technologies, it is still a robust, tunable V8 power, especially in the newer small blocks like the 6.2-liter. It makes over 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. Now you know which Chevy engines to avoid and which ones are built to go the distance. Pick the right engine and your Chevrolet can serve you for years. But the engine is only part of the story. Check out my video on how to push your Chevy past 300,000 miles, where I break down the exact maintenance schedule that protects your investment, no matter what's under the hood. Thanks for watching.